This video is not going to be a normal video that I typically put out. This is going to be about lore and some predictions that I have. So in this video, I'm going to cover what has happened, what will happen, and my predictions for the future of the Destiny story going forward. A lot has happened in the past year of the Destiny universe. And to start off, we visit Europa and talk to the Exo Stranger, which comes to be Elsie Bray. She finally has time to explain why she didn't have time. We harness the power of stasis. We go into Deepstone Crypt, discover the secret of the Exos, and fight a formidable boss, I guess you could say. An old friend of me, you could say, to the Destiny community. Around the same time as entering the Deepstone Crypt, we are reintroduced to an old enemy and a new friend, the Crow, formerly Uldren Sov of the Reef. Along with Uldren and the Spider, we help hunt down Xivu Arath and her minions. After helping the Crow earn his freedom from the Spider, Zavala has a message for us. A challenge from the Empress of the Cabal, or the remainder thereof, the Cabal. The challenge is to essentially become allies with the Cabal. In a long string of events, we eventually do become the allies with the Cabal. I really wish we could have seen Brachus Zavala. That would have been really, really cool, Bungie. But, we didn't get to see that. And then enters the Fallen, the Elixni, the House of Light. 3 names for the same group of people. You see the city go into chaos with the Vex simulation of the sun, and Lakshmi sowing dissent among the denizens of the city. We end off that season with an epic battle within the city's walls, with the humans standing side by side with the House of Light, and a friendly harpy is found within the city, which is assumed to have something to do with Asher Mir as he went inside the Pyramidion near the end of Arrivals. So to go back over very quickly what we've done in this past year. We've learned about the darkness and harnessing its abilities. We've allied ourselves with the Crow, formerly Uldren. We've allied ourselves with the Fallen and the remainder of the Red Legion or the Cabal Empire. I'm not too sure of which one of those Cabal, but we're allies with the Fallen and the Cabal now. With the Witch Queen reveal, Bungie revealed that Savathun is able to get the power of the light, or something similar to the light, and create ghosts for the Hive to create Hive Guardians. And it was confirmed that there will be Hive Guardians and we will be fighting them. Now, whether this is some sort of Hive Throne World simulation type thing is yet to be discovered. I'm not going to look at that side. I'm going to assume this is actually the legitimate light and the Hive are getting it. During the same reveal, we learn that Bungie is extending the Light Saga into one more yearly expansion. So now we're going to have Destiny the Witch Queen, Destiny 2 Lightfall, Destiny 2 the Final Shape, and then Beyond. Beyond being like further expansions down the road. But Destiny 2 the Final Shape, they said, will be the end of the Light Saga. So this is what I wanted to take a key point to. And now we ultimately get to what the point of this video is. And what inspired me to make this was actually a desktop background I've had for a little bit. And it's this picture of this hunter in this forest with Fallen and Cabal in the background. And the Fallen and the Cabal have this green aura effect to them. And it was making me think about the Hive Guardians. This is a very interesting point. And then thinking of the wording Bungie is using, the rhetoric, the Light Saga, the Final Shape, Lightfall. Witch Queen is pretty on the face, pretty obvious what that is. It's just reference to the Taken King. Okay, we get that. But Lightfall and the Final Shape. And then I look at this old concept art, because that's what this is. It's old pre-Destiny 1 concept art. And there's so many interesting things about this. Firstly, if you look at the Fallen and the Cabal, who are we allied with this year? We allied with the Fallen and the Cabal. How coincidental. That's so weird. Okay. Do you remember the pyramid room that we went into? It showed all the races, except for the Vex. Because I think the Vex are a third part to this whole thing. I think the Vex are the true neutral of the universe. They're just a computer and they have their desires. They don't care about light or dark. They're just Vex. Now, sure, they were worshipping the darkness in D1, the Heart of Darkness, but as we've come to know, that may have been a trap that the darkness had set for us to discover eventually. So the Vex could just be a third party that have nothing to do with the light or dark. So the major thing I want to point out in this early concept art is it shows a hunter in the foreground and behind some like bushes. It kind of gives me this vibe of like this human is hiding from these enemies. And as you can see, the direction of the enemies, they're marching side by side, Fallen and Cabal, towards a certain direction. They're working together, basically, is the gist that this image is showing you. And it's showing you this light. It's very explicitly detailed on the Cabal and the Fallen specifically, and it's not on the human character. You can notice by the colors and the lighting that the human character is meant to be hiding from these enemy forces. Now, before Destiny came out, no, we wouldn't have known the difference. We wouldn't have known what Fallen Cabal were until Bungie told us what there were. But now knowing what we have set in motion this past year with Beyond Light, we know that we have allied ourselves with the Fallen and the Cabal, which basically makes the Fallen and the Cabal themselves allied through us as the third party. So this leads me to another concept art that I have as my desktop background, and this is pretty interesting considering a meta weapon that just got nerfed in Season 15. This next piece of concept art, I want to point out a few things. First off, the obvious draw of the picture. There's two things that my eyes get drawn to, personally. I see the main human person in the foreground, and then the Fallen Walker directly behind him. And in the foreground character, the humanoid, you can see a weapon that looks like a weapon that we should all be quite familiar with. It looks like Anarchy. And obviously this is concept art, so things have changed along the way, but that is like a striking resemblance to Anarchy. And no one can tell me the otherwise. Like, that is Anarchy, essentially. And then the Fallen Walker. It obviously doesn't look like the Fallen Walkers we have, but if you see on top of it, there's actually a human. So what it kind of looks like is a hybridization of Fallen and human technology. This would kind of indicate that humans and Fallen are allying together. These two images from the concept art kind of show the same point, that we were always intended to ally with the Fallen and potentially the Cabal in the previous one. Just because, given the facts that have happened with the Beyond Light year, we clearly are allied with the Fallen and the Cabal now. So those elements are very striking. Now let's look back at Red War. What was the story of Red War? It was the story of the Guardian losing their power. And let's talk about the rhetoric Bungie uses and the naming that they use. The Light Saga, Lightfall, which was supposed to be the end of the Light Saga, and now the final shape. And what do we know about shapes in the Destiny universe? Spheres, pyramids, and now some final shape, which should be a cube or something like that. Who knows? Maybe it's the dodecahedron or the engram or whatever. Okay, we know there's going to be Hive Guardians. We know we've allied with the Cabal. We know we've allied with the Fallen. We're kind of setting up this diametrically opposed universe with the city with the Fallen and the Cabal, and versus the Hive, Taken, and potentially Vex. I think the Vex are sort of the wild card in this, because I don't know whether or not they're like with the darkness or light or whatever. I think they're just like the true neutral of the universe. They just happen to directly oppose what our goals are. So from our perspective, they're evil, but perhaps they're just like a universal neutral. Like, they're just doing their thing, something like that. And then look back at this early concept art. It's so weird. I think what's going to happen, this is my prediction, I think the Cabal and the Fallen are going to get the powers of the light. Like, something through the Witch Queen, us finding out about her getting the powers of the light, we're going to somehow learn how to harness the power of the light, similar to how Gaul was wanting to do it. But it's not going to be in a forceful nature. It's going to be in a deceptive nature to the Traveler, I guess. Think about it. I mean, she's the Queen of Lies. Like, deception is kind of her thing. So, like, we're probably going to learn the ability to basically give anything or anyone the ability of the light. So it would make sense that the Fallen and the Cabal could get the light, because they're going to be our ground troops and stuff for the war, and that would only make our forces stronger compared to our enemy forces. So it looks like the diametric opposition would be, the city, the Fallen, and the Cabal would be one faction, and then it would be the Hive and Taken, and then it would be the Vex is just kind of doing their own thing, neutral, doing whatever. And then, the Taken, obviously, they have the ability to convert things, but they can't convert things with light, to my knowledge. I could be mistaken there. So that would be, like, the first defense against the Fallen and the Cabal, like, completely negating the Taken abilities. Because we know from the beginning, that Oryx was able to just take them. Like, he didn't have to do anything, you know? And they're just peons compared to him. Now, look, I could be wrong about the Oryx thing, but these are just like my spitball ideas, and I think that would be the first step of against fighting this opposition, because the Hive and the Taken, they're kind of the same thing. Maybe we don't really know stuff about the Taken that much. Like, there was that one mission on the Aya where Ikora was talking, and it's like the Taken are like still cohesive for some reason after Oryx been dead for so long, you know, stuff like that. So we give the light to the Fallen of the Cabal, right? Back on track. And then what happens? The light, it's turning, it's forming something. And then we come to find out. We look at the, like, facts of what has happened with the Traveler. First it went to the Fallen homeworld. It gave them the power of the light, basically. And then they got addicted to it. And now they're, like, to my knowledge, that's basically what ether is. It's like light-infused, like, food or something like that. Like an energy source for them. So their whole civilization collapsed when the Traveler left, and it left them destitute. Not just like economically, but like spiritually and like literally like calorically, I guess you could say. Like, they were literally dependent on it. So it comes to us. Rasputin shoots it or something, stops it from leaving or something, and then the Red Legion, all this stuff is happening. But then what happens with the final shape in Lightfall? I think what's going to happen is the Traveler just is going to continue doing what it has done historically. It goes to a planet, builds up a civilization, then it just like leaves, and those people that grew dependent on it, they're kind of just stuck. And maybe that's like the point of it. Maybe it's like a divination rod of some sort. It's supposed to divine what, like, beings are supposed to be worthy or not. Are you worthy? You're worthy not based on whether or not what you do with the power. It's what you do without the power. Basically, here's this power. Use it how you may. Use it however you will, and you have it for a limited time. We're not going to tell you have for a limited time, but basically, here's this great opportunity to build your foundation up. Will you simply use the power for your own exploits, or will you build the infrastructure for your civilization to prosper without the power, as if you didn't have the power? So I think that's sort of the metaphorical and like poetic like story of the Traveler. I could be completely wrong, but I think that'd be a really good story with like, I mean, look at the Fallen. Like, it came, blessed them. They had like a golden age, like a renaissance, like we did in the story, and then it just kind of left. Kind of weird. Were the Fallen unworthy? Probably not. I think the Traveler is just an object that does shit, like does crazy stuff, has magic or whatever, space magic. I think that could be where we're going with the Destiny universe, and we could see like maybe the Traveler finally does its final act. It finds a worthy civilization, which is humans, and it controls all those who gave themselves to the power. So then we would give up our power so that we may have free will, basically. But all those who did not give up their power would lose their free will and become minions of the light at this point, rather than minions of the darkness. And we would use darkness or no ability, because maybe we have to give up darkness. But maybe darkness is salvation. Maybe Savathun, like, maybe it is just a tool. Like, maybe there is no, like, good versus evil. Maybe everything's just a tool. But then at that point, the Traveler, it's just minions of the light. And Lightfall, that's basically what it should have been. Now we have final form, or final shape. Those are just my thoughts. If you like this video, this is not my typical type of video. I typically talk about builds and like designs of the game and systems and stuff like that. But I would appreciate a like if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. To be fair, not more of this kind of content, but like just generic Destiny videos. Maybe not generic. I mean, I think my videos are pretty interesting, but they're different, I would say. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day.